We're live.
We are live. And if
Yes.
if it sounds like Paul's apartment is falling to pieces, it's thunder and lightning.
I'm not in my apartment, so. However, welcome to everyone, and welcome to SuccessCafe.tv. And Success Cafe TV empowers individuals worldwide to take full responsibility for their health, wealth, and mindset. So this really is geared towards mindset and business. But because of our background, health and wealth, it's all gonna
Health and wellness and wealthist and all this.
All that's gonna come in. So so how's your week gone so far?
Trust me, I've been fully engaged.
Which moves us on to our headline. The power of full engagement, which is, funny enough, is one of my favorite subjects. So we're going to get straight into it. And have you got any opening
remarks
for us? Without giving too much away?
No.
Are you a proponent of the power of full engagement?
I am indeed. And I mean, I don't think I would be sitting here talking with you on a weekly basis if I wasn't. I don't always practice full engagement, but I am a strong proponent of it.
Yeah, I think we go through phases in our life. It depends on what we're doing. I mean, I was thinking about this earlier, and I just said, well, it's really funny when I felt like I've been fully engaged. I've been on a 2-year run. It's been 2 or 3 times when I've done that, and it's weird. I can't do something for a couple of weeks. I have to get involved in something that takes years.
Okay.
And the more I do that, the more consistent I am. I don't know how you feel about that.
What is it? Is it as a result? Is that consistency? Does that consistency come from the beginning, knowing that you're going to be doing something for you've committed to an extended period of time, or does that consistency come from being committed for an extended period of time?
The first one, day one.
Okay.
Day one.
Okay.
I mean, it's
so it's purely a mental thing for you. That
it probably is. You're right. It is probably. I think I've got to spend 2 years doing this. I'm not going to waste my time. Because at the end of the day, it is a 24/7 thing. Okay, and it doesn't mean to say, let's say it was to do with running or athletics or whatever it was. It wasn't that you're going to be doing it 24/7, but you had to be thinking about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, unless obviously you were out with your partner having dinner or playing with the kids, then it wouldn't be. But you see what I get. I mean, most of the time, a lot of the time.
But this is where full engagement comes in, right? This is where
absolutely.
Full engagement. You need to be in the moment at the moment.
That's right.
And you need to be there, present. Yeah. Doesn't matter where you are.
When you're engaged, there has to be no let up.
Yes.
Now that doesn't mean to say you don't have to be flexible, because I remember when training for the marathon, you had the odd day. I mean, I was very fit and I didn't get ill very often at all, but the odd day when you had a bit of a croaky throat and you could feel something in the background coming on, I might take a day off.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just so I could load up with different things and, all good stuff, get loads of sleep, loads of hydration and whatever, and then get back on it the day after.
Back on the wagon thereafter, yeah?
Yeah, so it's a big thing about being aware of where you are all the time. Let's say it's a 2-year period. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be aware of what you have to do or want to do.
You see, this has been one of my biggest downfalls, Paul, with full engagement, is that it's that knowing where, when, and how, and what all the colors look like, and it's that planning with that those finer intricate details, which is not something that I'm particularly proficient at.
Yeah.
I'm good at the big picture. I'm good at seeing a big picture and having a grand plan in mind. But when you ask me to start putting things down into finer details, which helps you to remain fully engaged,
mm-hmm.
You with me? That's when I struggle. This is when I look at my big picture and I think, oh Shite. And I was now trying to put it all back to find a, compartmentalize or whatever the case may be. And this is where I trip up. And I think perhaps quite a few people would, if they look back honestly at their own experiences, this is probably where they also trip up.
You'll hear me use a word virtually every call I do, and the word is synergy. And there is if you're making an apple pie, there is the complete apple pie. Okay. Now that doesn't mean to say that you'll be eating the whole apple pie. It just means you have to know the full recipe and the way to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, most people. Okay, we're going to be brutally hard here today. This isn't one we can hold back on. There are.
Hello. One second. No, she's not. One second.
We basically.
No, she's not.
There are no excuses at the end of the day. This is a hard subject.
Okay, super. Bye.
And as I say, there's not too many people that actually put this into practice. The power of full engagement. Okay, so you are a rare animal if you can do this. Now, can everyone do it? Yes, you're all quite able. It's whether you're willing to do it. Okay, so much so that if you're thinking of fully engaging in something, you have to get people on your side.
True.
In Warren's case, it would be that obviously he's got a family there, and so he would talk this over with his wife, and they would work things out. But she has no, but yeah, he would lose.
No. Look, without cutting you off, and I'm going to cut you off, because it's a classic example of what's just happened to me in the last few days. Yeah, I've signed up to a course, which you know about. It's a 6-month course. I'm fully engaged because it does take a lot of focus and concentration and purpose participating in this course. It doesn't necessarily take a lot of time, but you need to be constantly aware when you're doing this course of the fact that you're doing the course. It's not something that you go and you sit down and you read one hour a day or whatever. The whole day you're mentally engaged. And then the other night on Sunday we had a mastermind webinar for 2.5 hours. And after the webinar, my wife Andrea, she asked me flat out, is this course really worth all your time and effort you're putting into this? So she's not fully behind me doing this course for whatever her reasons are. But I don't want to know, because for me, I'm fully engaged.
Yeah.
I'm fully into this, and I'm there as long as I can maintain that. So yeah, because I've made the decision, I've got to be fully engaged. Period.
Well, to be full transparency here, I did the same course last year.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I didn't last long. Not going to go into it. Doesn't mean to say it wasn't a great course. It was just it didn't fit in with my life at that particular time.
And so not every course is going to fit in with everybody's life.
I'm sure at some stage I may well do it again, but I can't guarantee that. But but going back to what I said there, if you are going to really hit it hard, there's no let up. There's no let up. If you want extraordinary results in anything, then you really need to apply yourself all the way. Okay,
but who wants extraordinary results in their life? This is a question which doesn't get asked very often, in my opinion. Yeah. Who wants extraordinary results in their life? You and I, it makes sense. If you're going to do something, you want to create extraordinary results, or as close to that as possible. But that's our intention, right? Who wants that? And I'm pretty sure that some people watching this call don't necessarily want extraordinary results.
They won't. And that's okay. That's okay. Because at the end of the day, you do what you want. We're just giving you, I suppose, a snapshot of what it takes to really 100% apply yourself to something. Now, it doesn't work all the time for me. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I mean, 3 or 4 times, now we're in a business that we are going to fully apply ourselves. We're going about it, building it in different ways, but we will be fully applying ourselves, because I haven't done that yet, to be honest. Okay. Mainly because I really had a desire to do healthylife.tv and this one, Success Cafe.tv. They both align with each other, and they are my main thrust at the moment. But as my business now is starting to seep in, and I will be fully engaged within the next month. So
and our business fits in perfectly with these two portfolios.
Absolutely. It's all about synergy.
Yeah.
It's all like a jigsaw, and that's what and you do need multiple streams of income. You do need 2 or 3, at least 2 or 3 incomes coming in, because you never know what's going to happen to one of them. Mm-hmm. But what I want to talk about within this power of full engagement is something called the grey zone. Okay, now the grey zone is a subject that I've got a productivity course from Eben Pagan, which is, and I've been using it since 2012. It is excellent, and it's called Wake Up Productive. And one of the things he talks about in that course is the grey zone. Okay, and the grey zone is this: when let's say you take your other half out for dinner, okay, and you're sitting there in the restaurant, and half the time you're thinking about your business. That is the grey zone, which means if you're taking your better half, your significant other, out for a meal, then you should 100% concentrate on them. Okay? Same goes. If you've blocked out time to do your business during the day, then you fully 100% concentrate on that and nothing else. Okay? But what happens is most people, and I've done it myself, you get wrapped up in other things, and everything seems to be like dropping a bit of ink in a bowl of water. It all goes murky and all starts overlapping each other, And so in other words, I wrote down 3 words down here: distractions, interruptions, and temptations. And they're the 3 things that seep in to when we're applying ourselves towards something, where we lose our concentration. We get tempted by, do you know what, I fancy watching a video for 5 minutes, or I still do it a little bit, but as I say, they're the things you've got to watch. That's the grey zone. The grey zone. So in other words, what you want to be is absolutely certain about what you want to do, how long it's going to take, what time that you're going to set aside for it, and then really, really go for it. Now, if you want to get extraordinary results, there is a few things you need to do. And I just wanted to get these 3 things out of the way. So, and I've mentioned them before. The first one is expectation. Because it's a huge thing to get fully engaged in something, you have to expect to win. You have to expect, if it's like what I said about 2 years, the expectation is, I will do it for 2 years, and I will pass the exam. I will get to a certain level of income. I'll pass the course, whatever it may be. I don't know. And so expectation is number 1. Number 2 is attitude. Your attitude has to be tip top. There's no letting up of your attitude. You've got to know that, not in a aggressive way, or you need to know that you can do it. Okay, you need to believe you can do it, and your attitude to people has to be right.
Yeah, and I think one thing just to add with that, with your attitude, is that you get some people, they absolutely block out everything else around them that is not congruent with the mindset or the attitude that they choose to have in that project or that business, or whatever the case may be, that goal, that objective that they want to achieve, that intention. So with that, the attitude can kind of come across as being quite either aloof, or it can come across as being arrogant.
Arrogance, a big one.
Yeah. Whereas it's purely a bloody mindedness about it. And this is unfortunately what some people, this is what they require in order to be successful. some people can afford distractions. Some people can deal with distractions, and they can just, okay, go, and I carry on. So other people can't. Other people, they need to be 100% focused on something. And if you come to them with anything else, they're literally going to push you aside and brush you away, because they can't afford it. Their energy, their focus, their attention to that detail, to that intention, whatever it is, they cannot afford to have those distractions. So this is something that, and then it comes across as being arrogant. And then sometimes often people are not willing to go down that road because they've seen other people do it and they've come across as being arrogant.
Yeah.
You understand? So they're not willing to go down that road, but they without realizing that you don't need to be that person. You don't need to be that individual. You just got to have the right attitude. That's all.
Yeah. And the other thing you have to be careful of is ego.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, because that ties very much with arrogance. It's not about that. This is about longevity. It's about consistency and persistent, and being persistent. And that's what it's all about. But the third thing I was going to talk about, the first one was expectation. Second one was attitude. The third one was action. Okay, action. You've got to do something on a consistent basis. And allied very closely to that, because we do health as well, is energy. Okay. Nobody wants to listen to someone who doesn't have any energy. Okay? I'm going to do this, that type of thing.
Imagine Paul
Tony Robbins when he speaks about it. It's great. But there's certain things you've got to do, and I'm just personal development is a big one. Usual things: nutrition, sleep, hydration. All these things must be in place for you to perform at a high level. Would you agree with that, Warren?
100%. But where do people get the tools in order to fulfill that obligation to themselves? This is the other dichotomy when it comes to success and when it comes to full engagement. Is people if you just take one element of that, or one aspect of that, your health, most people have no idea. And then they will make excuses as to why their health is not in place because they don't know. And it's sometimes people just think that you have to go in 200% before you get started. It's not the case. If you make a decision in yourself that in a year's time, my health is going to be exactly where I desire it to be, where it needs to be. You don't need to. And be able to remain fully engaged. You don't have to go study to be a sports scientist or exercise scientist or anything like that. You don't need to do that. You just got to just take bits and pieces, sound bites here and there, bits of information here and there from day to day. So when instead of watching the news, the news feeds, BBC, Sky News, CNN, whatever it is, you go and you look on some YouTube video or some website somewhere that has information on nutrition or exercise. And instead of wasting 10-15 minutes watching the news, you're watching 10-15 minutes of education. That's all it takes. Yeah, and definitely. You do that every day, and soon enough, you're going to be fully engaged before you even realize it. So this is the other thing that people think that they have to do fully engaged. There needs to be, you touched on gray area early on. Even with being fully engaged, it's not black and white. It's not like if it's this way, it must be this way. It cannot be that way. It needs to be gray as well in everything. There needs to be that balance, that synergy. Yeah. You need to have the yin and the yang. So you can't be expected for yourself or anybody just to know it automatically or otherwise take a year off to go study to do it and then come back and start applying it. Because it's not going to be.
No, you do it as you go along.
Yeah, you do it as you go along. You learn as you go.
It could be a business and you say, look, I'm going to put 7 hours a week into it. That's fantastic. Yeah. But for those 7 hours, you need to be fully engaged. Without interruption. Then you now know the power of full engagement. Now, it could be 40 hours a week. Yeah. Everyone's different. Everyone does different things. So it's not just about the time on the clock, but you need consistent massive action during those 7 hours or whatever the time period is.
And this is the other thing is, if you're going to go to the gym and you're going to train 1 day a week for 7 hours,
yeah,
you're not going to get nearly as good results if you go one hour a day for 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the same with your business. Some people, they focus, like take a whole Saturday or a whole Sunday and they focus entirely on that business for that day. And then the rest of the week, they leave it alone. You may get some kind of results, but you're not going to get nearly as good results as efficient or proficient results if you're doing it 1 hour in a day.
I don't think I could do that personally.
What's that?
I'm sure there's some outstanding individuals out there that can do that, but they're going to be so few and far between. Just on one day, where they could I mean, we're not discounting anything. We're just saying, for the mental aspect of full engagement, you need to be doing it, 5 to 7 days a week, really and truly. Now, some of you can't do that, and that's fine. But I always say, you work, if it's a business or sport or something, you can work it in the nooks and crannies,
and then you work towards that 5 or 7 hours a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's always wasted time or available time when you can do it. So very, very important as well. So I put down here many short bursts over a long period of time. Now, that's one way of doing it. You could be doing a short burst for an hour and a day, because it's what I call short burst. Or you could be doing 4 short bursts in a day. So you have to work it. You have to work it and mold it as you go along, unless you've got a great plan to start from right from day one, which luckily when I was training for the marathon, I did, and I stuck to it. But, but you have to, the only way to do it is to jump straight in. Don't wait around, just get stuck in, and very, very important. So where do you think the game is won or lost? Apart from in your head.
When or where? When?
Where?
Oh, where? Where is the game?
What moments of time?
The beginning.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be done at the beginning before you start, but it doesn't say you wait around and get the right mindset, because if you're going to do something big, you've got to have the mindset straight away. But having said that, there's lots of downtime. It's the downtime is tremendous. If you were to keep people keep a sleep diary or a food diary, you could keep a time diary of what you do in each hour, and you'd be surprised how much downtime there is, and how lazy and how we procrastinate. We all do it. We all do it. It's just some do it better than others.
Yeah.
So think about a boxer. Think about. Obviously, he's got to have the right mindset when he goes in ring. He's got to have done all the rounds and practice and everything else, and all the gym work and weights and everything else and road running. But when you're actually boxing, it's so important the times between rounds when you're boxing, all right? Because when you're getting hit in the face, you haven't got time to think, all right? A lot of the time. But in the round, if you're trudging back to the stall when the bell goes, you could be saying, "Oh, I'm getting hammered here. I'm on the way to defeat." So again, that monkey chat comes in again. And so it's very important for a boxer, the time between. Now, if you take someone like a tennis star, okay, I learned this when I was playing tennis. Someone taught me this. It was when you go, have you ever played tennis, Warren? Have you? Yeah. So when you obviously throw the ball up to
I was playing tennis before I was even born.
Okay.
Well, my mother was pregnant with me. She was a club tennis player.
Oh, right. Okay.
Club grade tennis. So she used to play competitions while she was pregnant with me.
Well, great.
Yeah.
So anyway, go back to the serve. Go back to the serve.
Okay.
Right, throw the ball up. You go and serve, and it's an absolute rubbish serve. If you take someone like John McEnroe, he used to rob himself of a lot of positivity by the way he reacted to things. And I was taught, don't take what happened on the last ball or serve or volley into the next play.
Don't, yeah.
Each one is separate. Forget it and move on. And that go again for when they have, they play so many games, don't they now? Was it 2 games? And then they have a little break. Is it 2 games?
Oh, they play 2 games and they switch sides. They change sides.
Yeah, but they also have little breaks as well, don't they? Where they sit on their, I take Wimbledon, when they sit on their stool or chair.
Yeah, in between, after every 2 games, they have a break and then they switch sides.
Yeah. Don't you think that apart from in between each ball and all those type of things, when you get sitting on that chair, you can get coaching, but you can't have verbal coaching. Okay, it's all done on hand signals and whatever. But it's important what you do in those breaks, apart from maybe having a bite of something and a drink and wiping yourself with a towel. Yeah, there's quite a bit. There's a full minute of downtime there. Okay, and you can use that to your
advantage.
To your advantage, yeah. And
this is what I was teaching the boxers. That's the 2 of the boxers that I've been working with.
Yeah,
they're fighting tonight. So one of them, I think, might actually be fighting right now.
Yeah.
So I've got the live stream, so I'll go back and watch it afterwards. But this is what I was teaching the boxers. In between rounds, focus on your breathing, nothing else. So even if the trainer is going in their ear about something, they'll pick that up. Doesn't matter. They don't need to focus on that and start having doubts in their heads and this. Just focus on the breathing. And this is what I told them. Just focus on the breathing. And they were sparring with other fighters prior to the championships. And the coach was remarking to me how he would sit them down in between rounds and they would just be breathing. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Because that's gonna keep their mind fresh. So when they are in the ring, they're not getting confused, So yeah.
I remember on a business trip, and I've mentioned it before. It took me 2 years to earn money in one particular company, and then I started earning big. But I remember Brian, who's actually well known on the internet, and we were sitting around the pool in Mexico, and he said, "Why haven't you done better?" So you start rolling out any excuses you can think of, don't you? And he said, I know why you're not as successful as you want to be. He said, you're not playing full out. You're not playing full out. You're you said you're talented. You've got everything at your fingertips, but you're not playing full out. So from that day on, I learned to play full out. And it did make a big, big difference.
It does.
So, I mean, as I say, your biggest enemy is going to be, one of the biggest enemies is going to be procrastination. The other enemy is the monkey chatter, what you say to yourself all the time. We keep mentioning that. It's very important, your behavior for the complete time. Take the whole umbrella, your behavior and what you do and what you think in those times. Very, very important. But at the same time, you've also got to learn to relax. There's all this stuff going on. You're thinking, oh, it's too much. I'm being hit by so many different things. Back off. Learn to relax. One of the big things is meditation. Or it could be just some silent time, some thinking time, a little bit of solitude. You can always spend a little bit of time doing that. When
I'm working on a computer, if I'm writing or something like that, I've got my earphones on and I'm listening to meditating music. Like very tranquil, and that just helps me keep me in my zone. I almost become blinkered. So I'm focusing only on what I need to focus on, and that really helps. Is the meditation music. Sometimes I listen to Led Zeppelin, but most of the time I'm listening to the meditation stuff. When I listen to Led Zeppelin, I get too distracted.
Yeah, well, that's it. Music, meditation. It all helps to make your body better. Okay, it's a form of cure. Very, very important. Also, I mentioned about controlling your emotions, bringing your heartbeat down. again, it's very, very important you do that. It's called emotional intelligence. You've got to, if you're in sales or something like that, you've got to learn to discipline your disappointment, practice, 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 come back on, do 20 calls. And I tell you, I promise you, if you're positive and you're confident and you keep practicing, you will get better. And all of a sudden it will click and you'll go, bang, I'm happy with this now. I could speak to 1,000 people and feel great about it. And the no's don't bother you. If someone turns you down, it doesn't matter.
And this is the other thing is that, what matters?
I was going to say is what matters is the quality of the conversation, and you're doing everything that you possibly can. And that's all that matters.
It's true. Because people forget that it's not personal until it becomes personal. For example, like if you're calling somebody for business and somebody says no to you, or they're not interested in what you have to say, then it's fine. It's not personal, because that person, even if you know the person, who cares? Just move on, because they have their opinion, you have your opinion, and theirs doesn't have to be yours in order to make it right. And it could be whatever business that you're doing. It doesn't matter, because not everybody's going to agree with what you're doing. You could have created the wheel, and not everybody's going to look at it and say, that's going to be the next big thing. No, it doesn't mean because it's the wheel that everyone's going to look at it like that. Some people are going to look at it and they go, but that's not a square. Why is that not a square? And so when you look at it like that, you can't take it personally. And then when it does become personal, when you get that one individual that swears at you on the phone, or if you're sitting across from somebody and they berate you, or they mock you or something like that, then you just get up and you walk away. Simple as that. You leave them with the bill and you get up and walk away.
The bottom line is you got to keep smiling, and if you know where you're going, it doesn't matter what people say to you. But what you have got to do, you've got to let yourself off the leash. You've got to break the bonds that are holding you back. And steam into something. And I think it's very, very important. The other thing is you got to think about is rituals and habits.
I wanted to touch on this. I was hoping you were going to say this.
So I'll let you talk about it.
Oh, no.
Sometimes I can't stop. So I'll let you. What do you think about rituals and habits?
Man, since I started to instill positive, empowering habits into my life, and I did a video for this the other day on my Facebook group. I don't know if you watched the video. When I was walking through the forest yesterday, I was walking through the forest with my daughter and some of her schoolmates and their parents, and I was waiting at the top of the mountain while the rest of them were coming from behind. So I shot a video quickly, and I was talking about the power of when you instill good habits into your life, you create a good lifestyle for yourself. And since I started intentionally instilling powerful habits into my life, in a little more than a year now, things have just kind of, the way I look at life, the way I see life now, and the way life sees me is just so different, man. And I've started to instill some even more profound habits into my life recently, healthy habits. And one of them is, for example, one of the best books ever written, and I read it many years ago, but I was too young when I read it. I read it in my 20s, and I just wasn't mature enough to understand it fully. The power of the book at the time. That was The Greatest Salesman in the World.
Oh yeah, I love that book.
By Og Mandino.
Yeah.
And I'm on scroll 1, so it has scrolls in the book, and I'm on scroll 1. And part of the regimen, the habit that you create with reading that book is, and this is where my downfall was when I first read it. I just didn't have the patience or the maturity to do it. But you read each scroll for 30 days, and you read it 3 times a day. When you wake up in the morning, after lunch, and at nighttime. And so you read each scroll. The first scroll is like 10 minutes worth of reading, but you do that 3 times a day. And it takes patience and perseverance and determination and discipline to do that, because now you are playing full out. And that's a habit that I've created now, and I've noticed since reading it now, closer to 30 days, as I get to closer to 30 days, my idea of habit forming has just changed, man. And I've been doing healthy habits for more than a year now. Yeah, my regimen in the morning. I get up early in the morning, an hour before the rest of the family does. I have an ice cold shower for 5 minutes. Then I do some incantations. I do journaling. I meditate. And these are healthy habits that I believe can work for anybody if you just find what habits work for you, and you instill them into your life on a daily basis, not here, there, whatever, every single day. So, for example, if your habit that you need to create is fitness, okay, is getting fitter, and you need to create the habit of getting fitter.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to you at all, go out and train 7 days a week. I'm not saying that, okay? Because that kind of habit, because not everybody can do it 7 days a week. However, in order to create that habit in your life and maintain that habit and maintain that consistency in your life, you need to train a minimum of 3 days a week, an absolute minimum of 3 days a week. Otherwise, it'll never become a habit. And when you're not training, you need to be thinking about the training, all right? Or you need to be reading about something relating to training, so that it stays in here in your subconscious. And by creating these habits more and more and more and more, until it appears to be repetitive to the point where you want to gnaw your hand off, okay? By doing that, what you're doing is you are instilling that into your subconscious. So now it becomes part of who you are, where you don't have to think about it anymore. Yeah, I don't think about when I'm training. When I train, I just go and I train. You know what I mean? And sometimes I don't even have a plan about what I want to do. I just do what my body feels like it needs to do for the day sometimes. And it's because it's such a habit within me. Yeah, it's been part of me for so long now, training, that if I go for 2-3 days without training, I start to get withdrawal symptoms. So yeah, it's the same with any healthy habit in your life. When you start to apply it on a continuous, consistent, religious, almost religious basis, that dogma that you're putting into your consciousness sits into your subconscious, and before you know it, you're not even thinking about it and you're doing it. And this is what happens with people with unhealthy habits. People with unhealthy eating habits, for example, or self-destructive habits of whatever that may look like. They do it in the beginning because it gives them either a source of pleasure or a source of excitement and the thrill of knowing that they're doing something bad. And before they realize it, it's something that's part of their subconscious. And now eating it or doing it, it doesn't give them the same kick anymore. It's like a drug, you know. You start on a class B drug, and sooner before you realize it, you're on class A drugs, because this class B drug, the class B drug doesn't give you the same kick anymore, doesn't give you the same high anymore. So now you move on to class A drugs, and it's the same with habits, because that is a habit. You've created a habit by taking drugs. You've created a habit by eating unhealthily. You've created a habit by sitting in front of the television doing nothing instead of going and doing some form of exercise. You've created a habit of self-destructive behaviors rather than empowering, powerful, constructive, you know what I mean? Yeah, you get me, habits. And that's all it is. It's the difference between what you decide from here and what you're putting in here. And when you start to create those habits and you find whatever habits make sense to you and you practice it every day in some shape, form, or way, then you're on your road to success. Simple as that.
Yeah. Well, it's all about getting started. To get started, you need willpower. Now, there's not too much willpower about, but then what needs to kick in for the other 95% is discipline and habit. That's very important. Well, the last thing I want to talk about is so many people, and I would say the majority of people, stick their toe in the water, to see what the water's like. How many times have you seen people do that and run away because the ocean's cold? And they do that with business. They do it with a lot of things, hobbies, sports,
relationships,
which is fine, because if you find that you don't like something, then when you move on to something else. But some people will do it with a business. They'll spend fortune setting up a business, and they'll stick their toe in the water, see if it works. Well, if you stick your toe in, how can you will never know. So I've got a message. Now, this isn't for everyone. So if this doesn't apply to you, please don't get annoyed when I say it. But this is for people who have got talent, who can really go a long way, and who aren't doing it. Stop being a pussy. Right? Right? How can I say that? Because I've been one.
Yeah.
All right. So get on and do it. Right. And this is like a mirror, because I can see myself talking. I'm telling myself. Okay.
Stop being a pussy.
It may not be about you.
Well, it is. At the end of the day, it's all about you. You said it. It's about you as well. You're just reminding yourself. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. So
whether you're doing it or not.
I've got one little thing to share, and that is this has been. I've never actually. I've got this book, but I've never read it, and that is The Power of Full Engagement. Because I had some great mentors in my time, and trust me, they kick me up the butt. Right, so they tell me when I'm not fully engaged. So I think this is taken from the book. I can't honestly say yes, but to be fully engaged, we need to be fully present. That's number one. To be fully present, we must be physically energized, emotionally connected, mentally focused, and spiritually aligned, with a purpose beyond our own immediate self-interest. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So I've run out of things to say. I'm sure I could talk all day, but whether it be intelligent or not, would be another thing. But have you got anything else you want to say at all, Warren?
I don't want to add anything to that. Thank you. That was a great way to finish it off.
Yeah. So go do it. Look, we wish you all the success you're willing to work towards, and we're now going to go off and do other things. Get fully engaged in other things. So anyway, just quickly, I missed to say hello to Stacey and from Kent, and Mukesh from London. So welcome, guys. Thanks for commenting. Please comment. If you listen to this on the replay, please comment, show us a bit of love, and we'll go from there, and we'll see. And join us on Friday on healthierlife.tv. when we talk about salt.
Salt.
Well, that's all I'll say.
I've got some salt here from Switzerland.
Ah.
Yeah, from the caves of Switzerland.
Fantastic.
How's that? I've been holding this pretty much the whole way through the talk.
Anyway, if anyone needs any coaching or mentoring, please give us a shout. Okay,
please do. Yes.
If you'd rather me mentor you, then ask for me. If you want Warren to mentor you, then ask for Warren, and he will get back to you, because I will pass on the message. All right. So have a fantastic day, and I'm going to end the broadcast.
Bye-bye now. Have a lovely one.
See you later.